there's a chance for us to make something unique. It's not so much that we particularly want to make something unique, but the combination of the scale of Welbeck and the aspirations of the family seem to lead us almost inevitably to trying to do something that may not have been attempted before. And I say, that's fun. Community is a much abused word nowadays, which means whatever you want it to mean. But what we're talking about here is people having a relationship to one another, both in the way that they live and in the way that they work. Ecological sustainability is absolutely crucial. We need to do it because if we need to attract creative people to come here, we need to be different to all the other places they could go to. So not only do we want creative people, but we want a creative environment for them, and that means taking care of the ecological side of it. I should say that in some ways the buildings that we're looking at now are very good from this point of view. Surprisingly high ratings for insulation, for example. In other ways, of course, they're hopelessly inefficient. So one of the challenges with the conversions is to make these smart buildings so that they look in accordance with the way they should look, but that they are not grossly inefficient.
I mean, there's a unique set of buildings here that I really don't think there's anything else like it. Certainly not in the East Midlands, probably not nationally. It really is just a unique set of astounding 18th and 19th century buildings, all of which have become available, or most of which have become available at the same time. And all the scaffolding around this building, which we call Carriage Court, is the start of a major construction project to turn this building into offices and studios. Well, we started this one because we needed to get something underway here, but no, we are going to need help. We've already had help in another project from EMDA, and we're very grateful for that. But the costs of bringing in infrastructure to a rural site like this and general planning issues, they're all things that we need help with. Buildings like this have been here 150 years, they'll be here another 150 years. And the family behind this project are looking at this as a very long-term thing.
Having the family all involved in it has presented an unusual challenge for this sort of estate. We all had to be involved and to feel that what was happening was something that we could agree with and, I hope, put something into as well.
When you have this sort of thing, you want to do your best with it. I think that's something that all of us think. So you want to do your best with it, and you want to, I don't know, make it as accessible and helpful as possible in the way that work the best for as many people as possible.
I see a lot of estates that you can name around the country that have been forced to completely, in an unregulated way, open their doors to the public. And by doing so, certain parts of those kind of old, wonderful bits of the estates have just totally disappeared because they had to make way for space to put the chairs, and and for marketing departments to kind of fit in. So you don't have a wood mill working anymore, or a works department. You just contract in, and they lose the soul and the essence of the place. So the future of Welbeck, as far as I am concerned, hopefully will involve a slow integration of other businesses that suit the place and don't take the soul and the heart, the beating heart of the place away. One of the first businesses we tried to set up after the Army College had gone was Stitchelton, and through three very bright and characterful individuals coming up and starting a business that was bound to work from the very beginning. A very good product made in a very ecologically sound way, marketed through the right channels, in the right environment. It works well, and it's delicious. Yeah.
And I thought that it would be interesting to do something that was around food because of the food that, activities that were already going on here. And so I thought about starting a bakery. And I thought about starting a bakery because I bake myself and because I thought it would have a synergy with the rest of what was going on in terms of food. And we got very, very excited when we saw this building and thought that it would be a waste just to put a bakery in here, especially since we couldn't find any bakers or bakers doing the kind of work that I wanted them to do. And we thought, well, we could teach them. My background is in education and thinking about what stops people learning. I think a place like Welbeck understands that life in a kind of urban situation, in very pressured situations, does make people very anxious, and it is harder to learn. So I think Welbeck is in a way a very containing place. And if you contain anxiety, then you are able to help people to think.
I think that the rural environment is quite helpful in that you are automatically outside the box. I mean, let's face it, we now live in a 90% urban society, and so if you start out outside the box, it's a little bit easier to think outside the box as well.
I think it would be a fun place to work if you're interested in nature. I think it would be a fun place to work if you're interested in history. I think it would be a fun place to work if you needed space and quiet.
It's a nice place to be. It feels like a haven, surrounded by industrialisation. So you've got access to this kind of vibrant, exciting area, or areas like Sheffield and Leeds and Nottingham and Manchester. They're not far away at all. Yet here, by quite a short journey away from them, you find yourself in a rural idyll, and that's almost like a safety net. It's almost like dropping into a safety net whilst being surrounded by manicness.
If people are working, that is the baseline. But on top of that, it's good if people are thinking in new ways, bringing a new energy in the way they think and develop ideas, because everything becomes easier at that point. New developments become easier. The way of taking the ideas that you already have forward becomes easier. Creativity, it's the juice that makes everything else work. We think, we guess, that 500 jobs probably will be created here. These are predominantly long-term jobs because you're looking at people who are working in industries or in creative pursuits or in education. So these are not short-term service jobs.
We prefer to have people working on the place rather than just big machines. It's rather more personal and you've got more of a sense of what's going on. Also, it adds to a community.
Part of the magic of the place is to do with the fact that it has an extraordinary history, but that from that history everybody seems to be able to look forwards at the same time.
You know, it's really difficult. I mean, I'd like to see a lot of things at Welbeck, and I think we've thought really hard about what they might be, and I've really, I think we're still learning, and I think that's very good, but also very scary.
I think there's an opportunity here for a place where people can live, work, enjoy life, a creative place, which will be a complete mixture of a dynamic community in a lovely rural setting.